In my homeschool journey video, I talked about how our family enjoyed doing unit studies in the elementary school years. And so I thought I would share a fun project that you can use for your unit studies. I'm using sweet potatoes for this project, and I just poked chopsticks on both sides and then rested it on a cup with lots of water. The potatoes have been submerged in the cup for about 3 weeks. Because the weather has been so warm, the slips and the roots have been growing really fast. After you snap off the slips from the sweet potato, you can submerge them inside the water and wait for the roots to grow. I leave the jars next to the window, and this is what happens after about 3 days. Look at the roots. Unit studies usually focus on a common theme. This could be called the journey of a potato. You can start gathering articles from the internet and start buying books or borrowing them from the library. In this project, you'll be able to cover history, geography, science, art, and cooking. Throughout this video, I will share how you can incorporate the different subjects into this project. I like to have my students prepare little by little all of the information that they gather to build a lab book at the end of the project, and it'll be a keepsake for them to go back and see what they've done. When transitioning from one subject to another, for example, going from science to geography, I always like to ask a question. For example, what state is known for potatoes? And what country was the first to cultivate potatoes? Then your students can take out the United States and the world map and identify these two locations. For history, your students can find out where potatoes originated from and where it spread to. A fun fact, did you know that Thomas Jefferson introduced French fries to America when he served them in the White House? I've included possible options for a science experiment write-up. You can download the many templates available on the internet. Feel free to copy mine. Also, please do not limit yourself with the questions I have prompted in this video. They are just a couple of questions for you to get started. What's great is that once you ask your students a question or two, they start to prompt you with their curiosity of the subject matter. Keep a list of these questions. They make great lab book inserts. If at all possible, please try to use buckets numbered 1, 2, 4, or 5. For hypothesis or problem or questions, you can ask, where do potatoes grow best? Or a statement like, potatoes grow best in containers. Only 1/4 of the bucket and burlap was filled with the mixed soil. As the potato slips and the vines start to grow, I will pour more soil until it reaches the top. Here's another fun idea. Because there's so many variety of potatoes, you can have your students pick their 10 favorites. They can draw or print them out from the internet and label the names on the potatoes. And the next time you go to the market, one of your kids will say, "Mom, can we buy the Maris Pure for the salad?" Here's an idea to incorporate science and art. You can have your student draw a potato and label the different parts, such as bud, tuber, sprout, roots, slips, medulla, cortex, periderm, and etc. On a separate sheet of paper, keep track of the growth. You can either make a chart in the form of a graph, table, or timeline. Keeping record of the progress and changes is a good habit to form. With the aid of technology, if your students do not like to draw, they can take pictures, print and paste to their timeline, or prepare a PowerPoint. Have your students draw or print the stages from planting a slip to harvest. They can write the dates below the growth chart to record their findings. At the end, they can see how close or different the results are. This is where they can write up their observations and results. I planted my sweet potatoes into a potato sack, bucket, and a raised bed. With the small potatoes, I planted them in a raised bed and in 2 buckets, one where I cut the potatoes into halves, and the other I planted them whole. Have your students research how long it takes in your area until harvest. And when the time comes to harvest, try different ways to use potatoes to cook. How about fried, scalloped, baked, roasted, boiled, mashed, hashed, stewed, and etc.? It is truly endless. Now you included cooking into the unit study. Look at the results just after 3 weeks. Here's a Bible lesson you can sum up the lesson plan with. Be patient, therefore, brothers, until the coming of the Lord. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth, being patient about it, until it reaps the early and the late rains. You also be patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is at hand. James 5, 7, and 8.